Elite follows a group of teenagers who study at Las Encinas, a super exclusive school attended by those with a lot of money and power in society. One of the biggest aspects of the teen drama is the culture clash between those with scholarships and the ones who pay to go to the school. Elite Season 8 once again explores that element, with students getting into situations that put them and their loved ones in danger. As with every season, Elite's final year once again revolves around a murder, but it feels like the same old in many ways. Las Encinas might look like the perfect school from the outside, but the establishment could not be more rotten from the inside. One of the key aspects of the show's entire run is the fact that the school ends up poisoning its students, who feel enormous pressure to behave a certain way to fit in. Elite Season 8 explores power dynamics, with new and old characters playing a role in the central mystery. The only problem is the show has gone on for so long that very few surprises remain. In Season 8, two new characters make their debut and introduce the final year students to the alumni, a creme de la creme club. Not every student has the opportunity to join the elite club. Members are chosen only after they demonstrate their abilities in challenges created by alumni. As was to be expected, the manipulation and backstabbing rapidly spread to other members of the group. Now, without further ado, let's discuss how Elite Season 8 ends. Joel, a former pizza delivery boy who is now a student at Las Encinas, is the murder victim. Joel was unable to choose between Ivan and Hector, the alumni president, this season, just as he had in the previous one when he was torn between Omar and Ivan. Though his mind recognized Hector could help him create his future, his heart yearned for Ivan. Joel didn't show much interest in Hector at first, but after Ivan's cold-hearted actions, he gave in to the club president's whims and demands. Joel was introduced to other prominent alumni who like having sex parties in secret. Joel quickly began having affairs with strangers from the club in exchange for cash, because they were willing to pay anything for him. Joel initially hesitated to become a sex worker, but he eventually overcame it when he realized that he had little chance of succeeding in life without money, and that he was uncomfortable having Ivan pay for his schooling. Louis, the dishonest policeman, was eager to uncover weaknesses in Isidora's company. He watched Isidora's house closely all the time, and he used it as a means of blackmail when he found out that the alumni were renting out the club's rooms for sex parties. Isa was experiencing a lot of emotional turmoil. Her mother accused her of being responsible for her father's recent murder. She was doing everything she could to turn her business around, so when Ivan saved her, it made her feel a little better. Just as things were finally getting well, Louis suddenly threatened to close the business. Isa had been blackmailed by Louis before, and each time she was forced to comply with his demands. But this time, she was determined not to endure the terror once more. When she met Joel, she begged him to use his alumni contacts to address the matter. Joel chose to face Louis, since he had no idea that his acts might have such a horrible effect on other people. He made a threat to use his powerful connections to destroy Louis, and the words stuck with him. Louis feared losing his position of authority in his work. Extorting Isidora gave him a perverse kind of satisfaction, and he was not yet ready to concede defeat. Louis thought about killing Joel while he was sleeping, but when Joel woke up, he used the knife on the side table to finish what needed to be done. Louis followed Joel to the alumni room. Joel died from bleeding, and it was already too late when Hector awoke. Joel wasn't simply a problem for Louis. Chloe and her mother, Carmen, saw him as a potential threat. Dahmer attempted to use a tape he had shot in the previous season, which may have implicated Carmen in Raul's death, to get money from Carmen, but his plan was foiled. Carmen planned cunning schemes to compel Dahmer to go back to his native nation. Joel made the decision to support his best friend after learning about it. Joel was aware that the evidence would have been seen if he had turned it in, even though the racist police officers might not have taken Dahmer seriously. In order to get Carmen to pay Dahmer, he chose to use blackmail by threatening to reveal Carmen to the police. Carmen was unwilling to pay because she believed Dahmer would keep extorting money from her and would not remove the footage even after she did. Chloe confided in her boyfriend, Eric, about her worries as well. Eric proposed that they use a knife to frighten Joel. In the alumni room, Chloe and Eric waited to attack Joel, but things did not go as planned. After Joel subdued Eric, Dahmer came in to save his pal. Eric had promised to kill Joel before he left. Even though they weren't the murders as it turned out, they were crucial in cracking the case. With the intention of filming something scandalous, Chloe had turned on her phone's camera and set it on a shelf. When Ivan and Isa recovered Chloe's phone after the murder, they discovered a video that featured the killer's face. In the murder case, this was the most important piece of evidence. Rather than giving the police the video, Omar devised a new strategy. He was certain that Lewis would not be arrested by the police, and that the case would end there. Even though Omar really wanted Lewis to suffer, he was unable to let Hector and Amelia to get away with it. They were quite powerful, and he would never forget how the alumni had physically battered him when he had declined to give them entertainment at the club. Omar made the decision to utilize the footage to coerce the siblings into signing a statement acknowledging that they were the ones who attacked Omar. The film would demonstrate the siblings' innocence while they were incarcerated. Hector thought about it, but he wasn't ready to admit to Omar that he had beaten him up, so he gave Omar the chance to burn down Las Encinas. Omar's only desire was to demolish Las Encinas, following the deaths of Samuel and Joel. He felt it was necessary to take action against the fascists and classists who were being supported by the institution. However, Nadia, his sister, assisted him in realizing that Hector and Amelia would once more escape punishment and that setting the school on fire could not be the answer. Omar thought about giving the proof to the police, but Lewis was prepared to kill Omar in order to protect himself because he had previously learned about the video. Omar was feeling totally lost when all of a sudden he had an idea. He made the decision to take use of social media. Speaking to the public, Omar detailed how the prestigious school had destroyed many lives and how, despite this, the offenders had never been brought to justice. In an attempt to get Lewis arrested, he uploaded the murder footage and asked the audience to put an end to it. When the police arrived at Isidore House during the conclusion of Elite Season 8, they were looking to arrest Lewis. That was while he was with Isidore. She made the decision to poison Lewis to death, without knowing of Omar's scheme. However, Lewis discovered her scheme and gave her a medication. Thank goodness, Isa survived, and the police arrived in the room at the appropriate moment. Isa gave Lewis the narcotic mixture by injection right before the police took him away. Lewis passed away at Isidore House. The poison took effect almost instantly, causing him to pass out on the dance floor. Isidore was pleased with herself after obtaining her retribution at last. When Omar's video revealed Las Encinas to the whole country in the Elite Season 8 final, Virginia, the principal made the decision to act at last without considering the repercussions. She was prepared to provide Omar access to all important school-related files. Omar was on a mission, and we can presume that he will uncover every Las Encinas controversy and unearth long-forgotten instances with Nadia. Dahmer, in the meantime, made the moral decision to give Sarah the footage of Raul's murder, because he thought it was the proper thing to do. He was resigned to the possibility of having to go back to his native nation. After receiving the video from Sarah, Carmen felt it was time for her and Chloe to move abroad. Chloe found it difficult to say goodbye to Eric, and they both hoped that they would run into one other again in the future. Virginia declared that final-year pupils would have to take their examinations at a public school and that Las Encinas would close permanently. As Elite Season 8 came to a close, the affluent high school students humiliated themselves by pulling up in their luxury cars to a public school. Compared to the youthful, naive public school pupils, they were taken aback by how elderly they appeared. That's what happens when drugs and parties take up all of your time in high school. At last, a suitable conclusion to Elite, with the affluent discovering humility and the fact that they were not the center of the universe.